Hey everyone, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and thank you for joining me. I'm just doing a little hobby hangout tonight, and a few points of interest right up here while people are still pouring in into the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube later and the audio is out of sync with the video, that is a YouTube problem. Go watch it over on Twitch in the link down below, and it's free. You know, there's no paywall or anything like that, and the audio will be synced up. That's a YouTube problem with compiling videos. And the other bit of housekeeping is that if you haven't heard, the 2 Plus Stuff store is closing. I have the game mats and magnets on sale till the end of the month. The mats will be shipped out the middle of next week. There's a bunch of orders already to go. I made a video kind of explaining that. So that's all that's there for the housekeeping stuff. What I'm going to be doing tonight is a few things. And so Kenji says it's been too long. Yes, it has. Made a trip to Iowa and then just haven't gotten back into the groove of painting ever since. So we're going to break that. I did one demo model for a Clans Pestilence Plague Monk. And I'm going to try a few different schemes. And actually, I'll go to the downward cam to show this guy off. I'm not sure how well you can see him there, but basically, he's a little Plague Monk. He's got nice green robes. Turned out really well. And I put a white kind of cowl on him, but I don't like the white. So what I'm going to do tonight is I have this endless spell, the Suffocating Gravetide, which I frankly have no intention of using. And so what I'm going to do is just put a bunch of test colors all over the place and try to find a different color for that cowl that I like. And so we're going to try a bunch of different things with whites and Rakarth flesh and all this like that, and just put different washes on them and see how they all stack out. So that's what we're going to do. So thank you so much for all the people watching on Twitch and over on YouTube. So like I said, pretty simple night as far as painting stuff. We're just going to do a whole bunch of testing. Because I don't want to do the same thing. If you didn't know the ballad of my Iron Jaws, which was I started painting like 30 dudes and then realized I hated the way they looked and had to go back and repaint 30 dudes. It was pretty soul crushing. So we're not going to do that. We're going to figure out a test scheme on one Plague Monk and then paint 59 more. So let's see here. The green and the white makes me think of Pre-Heresy Death Guard. Yeah, you know, it's just, the thing is like the green looks nice and dirty for them, but it's the white that looks too stark and clean. So I'm going to try like tans, like a more like, well, what do you call it? Like a burlap kind of sack color, which would make sense with them as well. So I'll go back to the downward cam. We're just going to hang in tug out. So to everyone, if you are modeling or something like that, tell me what you are working on. And this is going to be sort of a, tell you what, we're just going to try a whole bunch of random colors. Let's try it. Here's our Rakarth flesh. And what else do we got? I'm looking for my Steel Legion Drab. Better YouTube and Twitch hosts would have had all this stuff ready to go. But this is the kind of quality I deliver. Let's see. Danger dust. Okay. What's with the wall thing? This is an endless spell. The Suffocating Gravetide. I'm going to use it as my paint test. I admit plain white doesn't fit. I'm working on my third Blood Warrior, 3 of 20. Whoa! I'm going to paint 5 of them, then my Slaughter Priest. Yeah, that's a solid chance to just break it up. There we go. Okay, we got a whole bunch of the base paints here. Let's see here. Neophid. Doug, are you coming to Adepticon next year? I don't have any formal plans to, but I'm certainly not opposed to it. I'm going to Nova this year. Yeah, no. Adepticon, it seems like a lot. Like, it just seems very overwhelming. Every time I hear people talk about it, it just sounds like an immense amount of stuff going on. Because it's not just wargaming, it's everything under the sun for nerddom, which is good, but no. Neofed, did you go to Adepticon this year? I'd be interested. Have a little discussion on that. I'm happy to hear that there was no I don't know, drama. That's always nice. Even I didn't hear anything on the 40k side. I mean, that might be there and I just didn't know it, but let's see. Question, Toshi, where is Azurheim located? Azurheim. You know, I'm not the best with the city names. I believe that one is in Azir. And that is actually one of the realms we know the least about in terms of geography. When the core book came out, they busted out a nice little, like, they picked a continent from each one of the mortal realms and kind of introduced them to us a little bit more. But they didn't do that for a few of them, namely Olgu, Haish, Azir. I think that's it. All the ones that didn't. They gave us a little bit of information on a bunch of other ones about that. Let's see here. Eldritch Council hangs out there apparently. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's see. What is everyone working on? If I can ask that. Let's see here. Mogwai Manson, need to paint that too. Yeah, I understand that I'm just never going to paint it. And so I was like, well, it'll be a great test model, which it is. It's got a ton of surface area, which is perfect. I like the spell. I've only ever seen it used once, and it kicked my teeth in. It's on Rerolling Ones. It's the first game that I played of 2nd edition. And Shu and Rerolling Ones took his Bone Splitters, the priest guy, the Wa priest, whatever he is. And then, because that guy can cast 2 spells, and so what he did was in Garian, there's a spell where your wizard can teleport. So he teleported the Wa prophet, whatever he is, across the battlefield behind my lines, and then for his second spell, he shot this sucker straight at my hero, and I just thought that was the greatest thing ever. And then next turn rolls around where I get to control it, and I send it back to him. So we were joking that it was kind of like Dragon Ball Z, where someone shoots an energy blast, and the guy flips it right back at him. It was pretty cool. Okay, so we got Reelings Jack says, listen to you, Brent and I play a friendly game of Corn and Night Hunt. Ooh, there are no friendly games. There's only the dojo. There's only tough games in Rerolling Ones. Do you see that Daughters of Cain versus Stormcast? Or whatever, not Slanesh game? Brutal. Loved it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm getting a little behind here. Okay. Sorry about that. Phone's going off. Let's see. Neofed went to Adepticon this year and last. It's fun to meet everyone. Play great AOS matches and browse at the vendor hall. Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting folks at Nova. I'm very excited about that. Just the prospect of there's so many people on the East Coast that have offered to let me stay with them, which is super generous. And it's just really, really cool how awesome people are being. Let's see. Tap, I'm working and finishing my Flayer bases. Got 1k of ghouls ready to go. Nice. Nice. I've never been much one for basing. Actually, so at Nova, I'm doing the doubles event with Jack. And then I only took 2 seminars. One was how to add damage effects to your models, and that's with Vince Ventrella, who I'm very excited to meet in person. My goodness, been on a show 3 times now, and I've just absolutely had a great time with all of them. And the other thing I'm doing is how to do bases with Duncan from G-Dubs. And so that's the one I'm like, I don't like doing bases. I just don't like it at all. Let's see here. Let's see. And I'm sorry, my chat just flickered. There it goes. My wife says I'm still painting most of my endless spells too. Might have to buy purple spray for purple submetal. I don't know when I'm ever going to get around to that thing. That I am the least motivated to paint that than anything else, to be honest with you. It just doesn't intrigue me as a thing to bring. I didn't have the special attachment to the concept like so many people do. As a spell from the old world, that kind of stuff, and none of that. But let's see here. Touching up my Seraphon bases, got 60 skinks to do. Whoa! Working on my first squad of Cadians. I've got about 1,000 points Stormcast painted from a GW Stores Escalation League. Cool. Yeah, our local store is doing that as well. I kind of fell off the grid when I went back to... Ooh, I like that brown. I kind of fell off the grid when I went to Iowa and haven't gotten back into it. But our store is doing that as well. This is XV88, and I like that pop of brown. It's a nice light one. And I think it would take a wash very well. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to get a bunch of this paint all over this thing and then just apply a bunch of washes to different sections of them once they're all dry. Just kind of see how they take it. Because it's something that, I wish GW did more of that thing where they show you what like a paint looks like with different washes on it. Have you ever seen that? Like I think, what are they called? Army Painter used to do, where they had like, here's the same white base or object, but they put the different washes on it so you can see what the washes effects are. Like, oh, I like that. Everyone should do that. It should be mandatory for all paint companies so you can actually see what the product looks like. Let's see. Afterwards, I should really organize my workspace. Got to play Tetris every time I need to paint. I'm becoming the same way. I'm going to get some more shelves brought in, I think, over the next weekend or two, for sure. Here's Zandri. Oh, I got a subscriber. Thank you so much. Triumph Toad. Thank you for subscribing to me on Twitch. It means the world to me. Yeah, I need to organize my hobby space desperately. Mainly because, like, I have this, like, pile of stuff that I'm working on. I have this big bucket full of Skaven. It's just general Skaven. It's got Pestilence in there. It's got Scryer in there, whatever. Some generic stuff that I picked up from people getting out of the faction. And then I have, like, this other box full of KO stuff where it's like, I just need to seal this and put it in the closet because I'm not working on KO for quite some time. It needs to go away. So... let's see here. Have you seen the 16 Mortal Wounds with Carnage yet? Personally, no. I'm not sure if that was directed at me. George Shaw says, painted a turquoise Terrorgeist for my Flesh Eater quartz. That sounds amazing. So one of the things I love, and not everyone's on board with it, and I understand why. When the new Seraphon book came out, when I say new, I mean this was 3 years ago when they redid Lizardman into Seraphon. I fell in love with the Bastiladon that was purple plated with like these white jagged like racing stripes going down the side of it. I think that is the coolest looking things. I love like the weird colors on stuff. I know not everyone's into it, but I just think it's the best. Jack really wants to ask me like, what's an army you low key want to do? Meaning like, you're not gonna like stop everything and go buy it, but at some point it'd be cool to do this army. Seraphon was definitely on that list for that exact reason. Love that stuff. Let's see here. Triumphant Toad. Might be a good idea to mention to viewers, consider using their Twitch Prime sub on you. Just a thought. I totally forgot I had it. Well, yeah, everybody, if you have a Twitch Prime account, you get one free subscription per month. If you'd like to spend that on me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Triumphant Toad. I do not promote myself nearly as much as I probably should. For someone who wants to do this for a living, I really don't. My thing is, I just, you know what really drives me nuts is when you go to a YouTube page, right? And say they have like 600 subscribers and they're already pimping their Patreon. I don't pimp my Patreon very much at all. I try not to. I thank my patrons, but I don't, you know what I mean? I don't like advertise it aggressively. And I just, you get bombarded. Every podcast has one, everything like that. So I try to be very sensitive to the fact that I don't want anyone to be turned off by me being too self-shilly, if you know what I mean. But I also understand that people who are also sensitive to that, like say Jack from Growing Ones, have personally told me like you can do it more. Like people have to know that it exists. It's like, okay, it's a tough balance. But I thank you for the information. I don't know much about the Twitch Prime thing because I don't personally I use Twitch quite a bit, but I don't explore like the Prime feature. I get my free thing through well, I guess Amazon Prime is the same thing, but I don't use Twitch Prime features very much. Let's see. Kenzie, the Corn Book gave like 3 different ways to take command traits and artifacts to unbind. I think Fyreslayers will at least get that sort of thing. I agree. Yeah, we can start chatting about Fyreslayers. If you haven't looked, they actually have the War Scrolls up available to look at over in New Zealand. So if you go to your GW page and tell them that I'm not where I am, I'm actually from New Zealand and I want to pay with fake money, and that's why it costs $900 to get War Scroll cards. If you do that, they'll show you the War Scrolls early because they already have it released over there. And I was taking a look at them today. I shared a few with the Rerolling Ones gents. There's some interesting stuff. One thing I really like is the 2 wounds all around. I mean, they weren't kidding. There were 2 wounds all around. This is pretty legit on all the infantry. The heroes' command abilities, I feel like, mean something now. I feel like they contribute to the fight way more. It didn't make me like someone. The second I mentioned that I had seen them, someone asked like, "Oh, do you have seller's remorse or like that?" Because I sold them to Jack at Rerolling Ones. I was like, no, nothing made me regret my decision. There's some interesting stuff for sure, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very interested to see. I think the old army way that they did their army before is just toast. Like, I don't think they have the staying power that they used to, but I think they've traded that staying power for choppiness, and I think that's better. I think it's better because it makes you an active participant in the game rather than just sitting around on objectives not being killed. A lot of dice rolls that don't mean anything. So I'm very interested in that. Kind of interested to see. We see the War Scrolls, but that's only half the picture, right? We all know that armies with battle tomes, the battle tomes drastically change things, and it's not just allegiance abilities; it's command abilities and battalions and that kind of stuff. It all changes stuff. And so I'm just waiting for this to dry so I can start testing out some different washes on it. And so, yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to for me, is I'm just at a point of waiting to see what the other things do. To buff them up. Because, going from slow and defensive to slow and offensive is cool with an asterisk, because that is if you can get to combat. So I want the allegiance abilities and everything else to help facilitate them actually getting into combat. Trying to think of what else stood out to me. I guess we can head over there and explore some. Let me pull this up. Let's do some. Let's see. We're gonna say that we are in New Zealand, and all right. So here we are. In the Zeals. Alright. Fyreslayers. One of the things, that really stood out to me. The end of the spells, I can touch on those in a second. There's a community article that goes into those. Lodge abilities. Thank you, Chris. I forgot about those. Yes, there are also going to be lodge abilities that affect these things. I'm curious if it's going to be like Flesh Eater Courts, where you have the basic ability, because the Flesh Eater Courts still have the delusions you can choose from, but all of the various, storm host equivalents give you different things. And I think that's kind of where a lot of the flavor will come in. One thing I was interested in buying, we'll just take out the basic Volkites. This is good to do while the paint's drying. I'm really surprised that they nerfed the shooting so bad. I did not expect that. But it's good shooting. 4 up on that many dudes, the big hordes that were being played. It adds up. It chips away at you. It's not, Kun and Ruck big gun levels of stuff, but it's interesting how much it matters. So going to a 5 up truly does matter for sure. Let's see here. I'm going to look at the chat real quick and make sure there's no relevant questions before I move away from this page. Let's see. Chris, currently none of the war scrolls have it. Okay. Yeah, basically they're talking about the idea of these war scrolls not having an innate dispel to magic, which is interesting. What they could add on top of this, though, is that they had a prayer list that could add an unbind or dispel prayer type thing. That would be interesting. Because I believe, who has that? Somebody has that. Stormcast, I think. If it's not the best choice because they also have wizards, but it would mean more in an army that didn't. Yeah, the terrain piece is really cool. Let's take a look at the terrain piece. I know they already spoiled his card. I'm going to be super honest with y'all. Like, I think the back of this thing is far more interesting looking than the front, which is good because the butt end's going to be facing you the whole time you're playing. But I think, I guess I didn't notice the individual rivets before, like the actual icons as much. But it's a cool thing. Like, this is not a not cool thing. The billows right here is nice. Yeah, I just think the brickwork, the billows, and all this brass and stuff like that, I think that is more visually interesting than the front. Like it came out of, was it Legends of the Hidden Temple or whatever it was, like from Nickelodeon back in the day? All right, let's take a look at this war scroll here. Molten Blessing. At the start of Hero Phase, 1 friendly Fyreslayer priest within 6 inches. Add 1 to their prayer rolls. Add 1 to the prayer rolls. So here's the thing. I'm very interested in is what the prayer chart is going to be, because the prayers that we see in the basic dudes, right, like the actual priests they have are this guy, the Rune Master, and the Rune Smiter, which comes on the Magmadroth kit. Those are your 2 priests. I'm interested to see what the prayer chart's going to be, and they haven't spoiled any of them. If I'm not mistaken, some of the prayers that these guys have built into their war scrolls, we'll explore them in a second, seem like effects that you got in a battalion, which is interesting. So anyway, as far as the rules, so this is the Forge +1 to prayer rolls. That's cool. I like that it's within 6 inches. It gives them a little bit of wiggle room. We still don't know, based on their allegiance ability, where you're going to be able to deploy this thing. If it's near the edge, like with Skaven stuff, if it's kind of anywhere. My assumption is it's going to be able to go pretty far forward, kind of like the Khorne and Flesh Eater Court ones. So that'll be interesting. And then this other ability is called Spending the Forge, which is once per battle. That hero within 6 inches can basically overcharge the Forge. And if you do so until the start of your next hero phase, you can reroll save rolls of 1 for friendly Fyreslayer units on the battlefield. However, for the rest of the battle, Fyreslayer priests can't use the molten. Can no longer use this molten blessing ability. Yeah, so once per game. Super stoke it. That turn, everyone gets reroll save rolls of 1, but you can't get your +1 to prayer anymore. And so I saw some people online saying, like, that's terrible because you want the blessing. Assuming that the prayers are good, you would want buff to your prayers because you could have a bunch of priests. My thought is, so many times if you don't know, Skaven Gnawholes also give priests +1 to prayers and also +1 to cast as wizards. They basically act as arcane terrain. What I have found is, as the battle progresses, this is an objective-based game. We're moving away from those pieces of scenery towards objectives. The effectiveness goes down dramatically turn 2 or 3 because I'm pulling away from those things. Whereas, now with this situation, the second you see the battle start to pull away from where your forge is, like that, the prayers aren't effective because they're out of range, or the units you can bless need to be somewhere else outside of the range they can be blessed. That kind of stuff. The forge still does something, right? You can just nix it, spend the forge at that point, and this way, even though everything's out of range and nothing's getting a bonus from it, it still contributes to the battle, and I think that's really cool. Because you can, again, it's in the hero phase, so you spend it, and then you can move away towards the objectives as needed, and I like that. That's a cool thing. I would absolutely take an effect where I can basically burn a gnaw hole to get a army-wide bonus. That'd be kind of cool. I got 3 of them, Lord knows. Okay. Let's see. I don't mind the nerf to range weapons if their close combat weapons are way better, says Goldbear. They did get way better. Legit. Let's see. The Rune Smiter and Rune Master now have to roll for their buffs and stuff. Yes, they turned some of those things into prayers. Let's go back to those guys. We'll take him. I'm going to close these other ones. And we will need him. What I like is that they kept the idea that the Magmadroth kit, you can always make, the dude on Magmadroth, but you can also make a variant where that dude's on foot. I liked it though. So for example, the Rune Smiter on Magmadroth, the Rune Smiter on foot, that their war scrolls are different enough to make them different units, and that kind of multiplies the number of heroes you have functionally in terms of rules. I like that still. So here's the Rune Master. This was the herpinest derp that ever existed before. He was the worst. If you didn't know, his rule before was basically when the game starts, your opponent gets to elect one of their units to have a piece of gold in their pocket or something like that, and they get a bonus to their attacks. And then if the Rune Master ever ends his movement phase within such a distance of that unit, the whole army's like, holy crap, there's gold there, get him. And it was just this derpy thing. It was super heavy fluff rules, and it was forgotten a lot. It came up during my last event, and it caused a little bit of tension. As we were trying to scramble to figure out who it belongs on, because this would have changed some of my decisions that I made, that kind of stuff. So that's what they did. They turned it into Holy Seeker. In your hero phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 12 inches model, roll 2 dice. If you roll at least 1 6 for the rest of the battle, you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by friendly Fyreslayer units that target that unit. If you roll 2 6s, 2 or more 6s, maybe there's something that modifies that if a battalion or something, 2 or more 6s for the rest of the battle, you can re-roll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1 for attacks made again. Okay, so when your units attack that unit. This is cool. It's not the most reliable thing, but it can certainly happen. I mean, it's just in the hero phase, so at some point in a 5-round game, he's going to do something, I would imagine. At least get 1 6. So that's cool. Passive, doesn't cost you anything. It's not even a prayer roll. I like that. I'm assuming this directly replaces that, right? Holy Seeker, they found the piece of gold on that guy's clothing. Go get him. It's exactly the same thing. And his Volcano's Call is his prayer thing. On a 3-up, this prayer is entered. Pick a terrain feature with an 18 inches model. Roll a dice for each model within 1 inch of that terrain feature. For each roll of a 6, that model's unit suffers 1 mortal wound. In addition, until your next hero phase, that terrain feature has the deadly scenery roll. I like that. Suck it, Sylvaneth. If you don't know, 1 Sylvaneth Wildwood can have 3 bases, which counts as 1 terrain piece. So if you light 1, you light all 3. And I thought that was pretty cool. On a 3-up, it's cool. I'm assuming there's going to be more versatile prayers in their prayer roster, but who knows? And we'll go to let's do the basic smiter first. Rune Smiter. This was, and I'm sure will still be, the MVP of the entire army. Because he has this magmic tunneling thing, which did not change from what I can understand. Basically, when you're deploying the army, you say that he's tunneling with a unit in reserve. At the end of the movement phase, Anywhere in the battlefield outside 9, and the other unit with them has to be set up wholly within 12, and also outside 9. And if they're not set up by the 4th battle round, they're destroyed. That's this exact same, and that's all he needs to do. Seriously. But on top of that, they gave him Runic Empowerment. He used to have this ability where just 100% chance, it was just an auto thing. He would pick a unit nearby, and they would, I think, reroll wounds, if I'm not mistaken. And they turned into a prayer, so now it goes off on a 3+. You can reroll wound roll attack. Yep, and it's just wound rolls in general, so it will still affect the throwing axes as well as the melee ones. So he didn't change much. They just kind of put him in line with the direction of the army, which is to say, he still does the tunneling thing, and since they're making priests now, his passive ability just turned into a priest thing, a prayer. Kenzie asks, question, do you think Sylvaneth will get an updated battle tome anytime soon with the Loon Curse box coming? Hope it comes out with that, just like Skaven and Flesh Eater Courts did. Obviously, I don't think Moonclay and Grants are getting a new battle tome right away. There would be a riot, but Sylvaneth would be a great choice for that. Let's see here. And we're going to check out. But I think they need one. I think all those first generation battle tomes need one, to be honest with you. Iron Jaws, I think, is going to be a big release when that happens. Okay. Paint's almost dry. Still too wet for a wash. Okay. So, yeah, okay. This is a Rune Smiter on Magmadroth. Still same little dude. I'm just going to talk about... Okay, so he still has the Runic Empowerment thing, so he has the exact same. Yeah, it's the exact same Runic Empowerment. Okay, no problem. But this one also has the Grand Awakening Ritual. Once per battle during hero phase, you can say this model has consumed a nugget of Urgold. If you do so, add 1 to save rolls for attacks that target friendly Fyreslayer units wholly within 12 inches. That's cool. I mean, this combined with the, what do you call it? The Forge, right? It gets you a +1 rerolling ones. That's legit. I dig it. I dig it. One of the things, and this is across all the Magmadroth things, they really cleaned up the Magmadroth Horror Scroll, and I'm thankful for it. Actually, one of the things I was super unhappy about, I did have that Fyreslayer army. It's about, I think, 1,700 points-ish when it's all considered. I really disliked using Magmadroths. Not from a model perspective. I thought the models were brilliant. I hated the War Scroll. It was the dumbest wording to a War Scroll I've seen, where it was poor wording and the things you had to keep track of. All the effects happen at different phases. It was just a lot for no reason. And so one of the things they did was they just really cleaned it up. They made it deadly. I don't have a comparison to the old one, but this thing seemed mean. And when you look at the descriptions, the Roaring Fire Stream was pretty much the same as far as like it devastates. Basically, you pick a unit. If you roll, was it? They changed it. Okay, instead, make a dice roll shown for the damage table above. If the roll is equal to or less than the number of models in the target unit, that suffers D3 mortal wounds. So let's see. I see. Okay, yes. So you have to roll a D6. Got it. Makes perfect sense now. So basically, you're trying to roll lower than the number of models in the defending unit. They just kind of changed the scale of that, I think, a little bit. And it has a chance to do D3 mortal wounds, or if they are within 6, meaning you're right on top of the Dragoth, or the Magmadroth, does D6 mortal wounds instead of D3. I don't know. They just cleaned it up. The Lashing Tail, the Volcanic Blood, a lot of it's just cleaned up a little bit and simplified. And I think it's way easier to keep track of. And I don't know. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think there's going to be a lot of disappointed Fyreslayers because the way that the army has traditionally worked has changed. I think it has drastically changed. But I think it will have changed for the better. And I sincerely mean that. In the sense of people are more choppy, saves matter more because you don't have your save after the save, your Mohawk save, whatever they call it. that kind of stuff. I don't know. It'll be very different, and I'm interested to see how many people like accept the challenge positively, rather than get negative. My favorite change. So this is a unit that I loved when I was building them. I think I had like 15 of these dudes, Hearthguard Berserkers, and I had the Poleaxe. And the basic profile isn't much to look at, but if they have a hit roll of a 6 now, does 2 mortal wounds, just straight up, boom. Like, whoa. I love it. I wish it was like that when I was still playing them. So, I don't know. I might ask Jack to see if I can borrow him for a day just to check it out. But, yeah. Kane says, I think the 2 wounds will be a bit better than the save after the save. Mathematically, I'm not sure that it is. But I can tell you, gameplay-wise, it is. Like, it's just less stuff to keep track of. I don't know. It's just, when I say keep track of, I more mean like, that's not what I mean. I don't mean keep track. I mean dice rolling that just mean nothing. You know, like my problem with the Magmadroth set was you're rolling a lot of dice, and a lot of those abilities don't do anything. All the save after the save, like these guys still have it. These guys still have duty unto death, right? The elite guys still have a 4-up save after the save if you're within 10 inches of a hero. And that's massive. Like, that's awesome. They should be like that. They're elite. They should be special. But just the basic guy, yeah. Certainly surprised if a lodge or battalion boosted Magmadroths. That would be cool. I agree. And they kind of alluded to like a Magmadroth heavy faction or focus on some level, but we don't have any details on it. But I think that is definitely in the works. If for no other reason, they gotta push those star collecting boxes. So let's see here. It got to be pretty excessive with the save after a save stuff for sure. I'm not gonna say broken. I don't think they were broken because they had no other shtick. Like that was their thing. They were uber tough, but I think in the stories they were just uber choppy. You're like very aggressive, and the way that defensive playstyle lended itself to was just not anything but aggressive. Just 1 second, I'm just grabbing all my washes here. Nightshade. Okay. I'm just sucking it up tonight when it comes to not being able to find anything. Okay. So this is one that I got many moons ago called it's from Secret Weapon Miniature. It was the first time I used it was when I bought the Galotkin. It's called Sewer Water, and I love it. Digital Keegan says, it just came in. What's up? What are we talking about? That is Skaven Tide Endless Spell. Nope, this is my Suffocating Gravetide from the old Malign Sorcery set. And I'm just doing a bunch of paint schemes because I'm trying to nail down what I want my paint scheme to be for my Clan's Pestilence side of my Skaven stuff. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Just kind of chilling. We just got finished talking about some Fyreslayers stuff. Chatting about just the different War Scrolls changes. We went over to... We took a field trip to New Zealand to check out the new War Scrolls over there. And I'm just going to apply a bunch of washes to this thing, let them dry, see how they look. Kind of get a feel for it and kind of dig in this Rakarth flesh nastiness down here. and let that ride. So this is just an endless spell I just never see myself using. If nothing else, like the Skaven have the rat swarm, which does functionally a similar thing. You know, it's a big blob that gets in the way. So it's like, I will just use this. I'm excited for the there was still some paint wet there. I'm excited for the Fyreslayer release. I think it's a good faction that has a lot of, I don't know, really fun potential to it. You know what? That looks exactly the same as the Thonio King Shade. Let's skip that. Let's see. So all in all, I'm pretty excited about it. I hope at some point to get a preview copy, but we will see. My fate is in the mailman's hands. Ooh, kind of like that. Kind of like that Reichling Flesh Shade on the XV88, which is not a combination I ever really hear about. Seems kind of applying random washes into different crevices, but I like it. That's a maybe. That's a firm maybe. That's these Gold Bear says, "Oh, Doug, your Remember Me list idea is amazing. Completely changed how I played. Started winning way more. So thanks for your help." Tip. Oh, thank you so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that comment just so my friend Jack at Rerolling Ones can hear, because he often jokes with me. It says, "Oh, Doug, your Remember Me list idea is amazing." So Jack often jokes around with me that it's whenever we talk about it in the chat, he always says, "Remember Me list," with a little like trademark symbol as if he came up with it. What a turd. But thank you. I'm glad it helped you. I actually, the morning of my event this last weekend, was scrambling to put mine together because I was taking that entirely new army list, the Chaos Undivided stuff, just because I had nothing else ready. And I was like, holy crap, we gotta get ready. And, I went 2-1. I felt pretty good about that for having never played the faction before and just had my memory list. I was like, yeah, I know this game. So I'm glad it worked out for you. Okay, well, I did that little test exercise, and I gotta say, the XV88 looks killer. I'm gonna go with that. And I like it with, let's see. Let's pick out some highlights, shall we? What we got? Skag brown, it's a little bit darker. No. Ooh, it's not working. No, it's bugging as well. Nah, never mind. Let's see. There's so much. Oh, Seraphon. Yeah, dude. That's a ton of stuff to remember that army. For sure. Let's see what. I'm going to bust out my phone. I'm going to pull up this painting app and see what they usually put with XV88. Well, I like the painting app. It's good stuff. Question. How is your reading coming along? How's your reading coming along? My reading. Kenzie, can you expand upon that? You mean like the book club thing? Digital Geek and I play against Night Haunt. Literally every roll there's usually something to remember or re-roll. Yeah, absolutely. That is the wrong application. Paint. XV88. Paint by color. Let's see. That's weird. I don't see XV88 anywhere here. Very strange. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna play around with this. I might just do XV88, a hard wash, and then another layer of XV88 and see how it looks. Well, let's see. Primate Hi Doug just finished priming Archeon now to start on his mammoth of paint job. Thanks for helping me procrastinate. Absolutely, my friend. George Shaw, question: are the Flesh Eater Courts good? Are the Flesh Eater Courts a good army? Since I'm thinking about either going Flesh Eaters book or the Corn one. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Flesh Eater Courts are dominating the universe. One of their kind of like what do you call them? Not Stormhosts, like they kind of like factions within a faction you can take right now. Gristlegore is just sweeping the thing. So look forward to some nerfs. But that being said, I think there's more to that army than just that one way to play. And so I think that they are both great armies. I think that it depends on what you're looking for. If you want the option of some staying power, Khorne might be a better choice for you. Because there are some tougher units like multiple wounds and 4-up saves and that kind of stuff. If you are cool with hordes of dudes dying in droves, like attacking a whole bunch and then dying, then the other ones might be for you. Like the Flesh Eater Courts might be for you. So I got this Plague Monk here, and I'm trying to figure out which one of these colors I like with him the most. When I started this test, I was going to do just the Xandri Dust. But I can't figure out what I like most. The XV88 certainly pops a lot. The only one I don't like is the Steel Legion Drab. It's too dark. But yeah, all these other ones. Let's see. I'm going to try one more here. Second from the right. Right, second. That would be, yeah, that's the XV88. That's what I like too. Yeah. Let me see. You should be able to see this the same. Like it's not reversed right now. Yeah, okay. It's the same. So let's do this. We're going to throw out numbers. You ready? To match this green, I'm going to pin him right there with my thumb. We're going to go with your guys' vote. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's Rekarth Flesh. This is just as a base color. We can add highlights, that kind of stuff. I believe this is Steel Legion Drab, XV88, and Xandri Dust. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and type in your votes. And what we're painting is that kind of like the shawl, the hood, to go on top of the Plague Monk here. Ken says the XV88 is a bit too vibrant. I was thinking about that too. 4. Okay, we got to vote for 4. Xandri Dust. I do like that one. That was actually the one that I was planning on doing when I busted out the paints. Also, I can highlight with our Shabti Bone, which is a little bit easier. I don't have anything that probably pairs well with the XV88. 3, 4, 4, 4. Okay, we're doing 4. Solid choices. I'm just going to paint on this guy because I need him as a model anyway. So we'll take it out. I'm not afraid to paint and repaint and all that kind of stuff. Now I know I missed something in the chat. Let's see here. Bloodthirsters got scary. That's good. They should be scary. Have you talked about the Wrathmonger Skull Cannon Walkback by GW? No. I do. So, okay, here's the thing. I just started using Twitter, okay? Just a little bit. I have a 2+ Tough page. It's called @ToughUp. And it's one of those things that Brent really encouraged me to do because it's a great place to talk to people, especially GW folks. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and use Twitter. And why is this relevant? Well, today I got to see the fun part of Twitter, which is everyone blowing up over nothing. And people freaking out about the GW nerfs. If you don't know, there was a point in time, about 16 hours ago, when the Wrathmongers used to give, I think it was +1 attack. I didn't read the War Scrolls of the New Corn book. I didn't receive mine in the mail, but the War Scroll, like, basically it just buffed the skull cannons to oblivion, made them actually really, really good. And so people were like, oh, skull cannons just got awesome. I dig it. And they got really excited about it. And then GW, like I would fully expect them to do, was like, oh, no, that was an oversight. Your maniac who swings anvils around was not intended to swing that anvil and buff a shooting unit, which is just, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the logic of it. It's one of those things. I get why people were disappointed. It didn't. I'm not someone who would have ever played that way anyway. And so when the nerf came out and people were upset, I'm like, what did you think? Did you think that guy swinging the anvil and who just exudes blood fumes to make everyone go nuts, you think he was going to run a gun? No. He's going to run at people. So anyway, I thought that was funny. Some people were really upset about it. I understand. Things change. FAQs are good and bad for us. But it made me chuckle just to watch the world implode a little bit. Had a Joker moment. I just want to watch the world burn. Okay, well, first of all, this immediately looks better because it's not as garish, not as intense as that white. But the white did make a good base for it, so we're going to let that dry just for a quick second. I'll play around with some more washes on my tester thing to figure out what kind of wash I want. So I got that sickly green there in the bottom right. Probably that's the best one looking so far. Let's see. We got a Shopty? Yeah, I got a Shopty bone here. But that's what's up with the Wrathmonger Skull Cannon debacle of 2019. I get it. Let's see. Thought I had a list of other... Nope, my list of topics is already dry. All right. I gotta say, though, all in all, I'm more, for some reason with the Khorne release, I was very excited about the Judgments of Khorne, like the not endless spells. But I wasn't as excited about the book, like the actual book itself. I don't know why. Probably because I didn't think they were adding anything new. There's new models, nothing like that. At the same time, with Fyreslayers, I've been very lukewarm on their not endless spells, quote unquote. But I have been super pumped for all the changes they made to the army. I think for the most part, it's because I feel like the new battle tome meant so much more for the Fyreslayers. Like, I think they're going to be a fundamentally rewritten from the ground up different army, straight up, 100%. Or I never got that feeling from the Khorne one. I never felt like there was this chance of them just, tearing apart the pages of the Khorne book and starting from scratch kind of thing, which some people would have liked, but I never thought was a real threat. Yeah, okay, that guy does look good. I like him. Let's do 59 more. So what I did was the basic GW tutorial for Skaven skin, which is what was the rat skin flesh with a wash of Reichland flesh shade, and then a little bit of Cadian flesh just on the tops. So yeah, it makes it pop. The robes are pretty simple too, so easy to do in batches. Actually easier than the clan rats because there's fewer details, fewer folds in the fabric and that kind of stuff. So I already have 40 of them, well, 39, including this guy, primed. And so I'll start him tonight. But between tonight and I'm going to do a long stream tomorrow night, going late into the night because my wife has guests, and I'm going to just be hiding inside my office. So I'm going to do a super long stream tomorrow night, and I'll announce that a little bit more. But yeah, let's crank out a bunch of these guys. Let's see here. I'm going to take the stuff I need. So I need that. Need these. Good. Sandry. Okay, all this stuff can go away. We're going to engage the speed painting demon here. Give me 1 second to get resituated, and I will hop back into the chat. I know this must sound really awesome because it's right below the microphone. Primate, yeah, I'm going to be here just for a little bit tonight and then a long one tomorrow. Okay. All right. So I guess the first thing, what do I need to do? Xandri Dust. These guys are going to go super flippin' quick because they're going to be basically the thing that made the clan rats take 6 hours to do 40 of them was that the base robes were blue and then the hoods were all red, and sometimes they were vice versa, but that's the basic idea. Whereas these guys, like those require different washes and different highlights, whereas these guys are sweet simply because the robes and the hoods, based on the colors we chose, are pretty much the same amount of washes. Like they're both those same earthy tones, that kind of stuff like that. I sound like a professional painter when I try using words like tones and things like that. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. Benny Triad says, better late than never. Hello, Ben. I'm just going to put down some really quick base coats on these dudes. James Valdez, of all the BS stuff other armies can do, they decided that combo was too much. Yeah, I understand the salt. I get it. But I can't get over the idea of a guy swinging an anvil and making a demon cannon work better. I get it. I get why it didn't need to be changed. I understand. But I do think it's funny. Let's see. Also, don't know how that got missed during playtesting, because that's like, people want skull cannons to be amazing. Okay. Let's see. Oathstone, I love that the judgments are considered the chaos gods manifesting in the realms. I hope the other gods have judgments, not just endless spells. That'd be an interesting idea. For sure. Like if there was other manifestations of their power rather than just spells, that'd be kind of cool. I think Khorne is certainly the judgiest of them all when it comes to magic use, but I see your point, and I agree. Let's see. Did you see the Forge, though? Yeah, we talked about the Forge. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. It's not a suffocatingly powerful terrain piece by any stretch. It's the kind of thing that I think players, if they started with the Fyreslayers, they could go quite a while without needing the Forge. I like that. That's what I think faction terrain should be. Here's a cool little thing you don't really need, but hey, if it sounds cool, grab it. Or some of this terrain, it's just like, that is so stinking good. Or you have the Nurgle one where it's so deeply baked into the way the faction works that you just, you want more. Same thing with Sylvaneth. Let's see. Kinsey, you asked about my progress on Black Talon. Not any further than I got when I spoke to you earlier. So I'm about in chapter 7, I think, just started. And I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I would be further along, but here's the thing. The prime time for me to listen to stuff is moments exactly like what we're experiencing right now, where I'm just sitting around painting. And then normally if I'm sitting around painting, I'm listening to podcasts, but I haven't done a live show in so long. I was like, you know what? It's time to bust out some paints. Hang out with awesome people. Let's see. Jack says my hex skulls went off. He rolled an 8. Nice. Nice. I had this weird thing. The second event or round that I played in at this event this weekend was against a Seraphon player named Rob, who was awesome. He just started the faction, but he was already learning the ropes. He's doing great. And for some reason, this weirdest thing happened where I got to turn 3 and realized that everything I rolled the entire game up to that point had been an 8. It's always been 8s. If I'd ever had 2 dice in it, it was always 8. He's like, maybe that means you should play core. And I was like, I don't know, man. Regardless, mathematical chances that it's just weird. Everything, every spell, every charge, everything was always 8. I was just weird. Let's see here. Ben says I was watching Rolling Ones and noticed that Doug was 1. I said to myself, those guys can wait. Well, they can wait. Those guys. Stealing my viewers. Let's see here. Yeah, so we got our paint scheme on lock with the pestilence stuff. And basically, I found out that my KR case is big enough to accommodate 2 1,000 point armies. And so I'm planning... Oh, actually, I should talk about that. So yeah, I'm planning to bring the Pestilence with me to Nova in addition to my Scryer. That is the plan right now. If you do not follow me on Twitter, then you would not know about my Twitter war, I guess. Basically, I got called out where a nice gentleman who's organizing some events for Nova asked me if I was going to be there on the Thursday before it starts. And I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll be there. We can get a game in, whatever like that. I thought he was just asking because he wanted to get a game with me. And he actually tagged me in a post with... oh my goodness, let me get their names, because I'm going to feel really rude if I don't get their names right. Who was I tagged with? Chuck Moore, Kelly Fryeburg, and Martin Orlando and I are all having a competition. If those names don't mean anything to you, we're all just content creators for Age of Sigmar. And basically we're going to have a Lore Masters game night where we're going to have a judge from the staff come over and look at our armies. We're going to play a little mini tournament, just us content creators, and just have a fun time. So that should be a lot of fun. And if you don't know, Kelly Freiberg, she is an incredible painter and artist. I think she did Alariel for the G-Dub studio, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, she has a wonderful Alariel. She won several, if I'm not mistaken, awards here for best painter army for Armies on Parade and that kind of stuff. Professional model painter, super cool. I know Chuck Moore does quite a bit of AOS stuff. He's also very popular on Twitter when it comes to just this. That's his community. Where mine's certainly my forte is on YouTube's. His is on Twitter and a little bit on YouTube. He does all these stuff. But yeah, super cool people. Serving our own little mini battle of the content creators, and I'm excited for that. So I want to get the Skaven ready for that because I think that they would look sweet across the table from... right now I know Kelly's bringing death stuff and Chuck Moore's bringing Daughters of Cain. So I think the kind of drab, plague colors would look good across those things. Let's see here. Stone, how long do I have left to maybe listen to the audiobook for the club? Well, we're going to, I think the 27th is going to be kind of our unofficial night for closing it. Is when we're going to do a live show and talk about the book in detail. Of course, you can you can just hold off and listen to the review whenever you want. But there's going to be a live show where we chat about it. And the audiobook is 10 hours long, so you have plenty of time if you just get to it. Unlike me, who I just get distracted every 5 seconds, and I'm like, I can listen to it later. And all of a sudden, it's been a week and a half, and later has yet to materialize. Anyway, don't be like me. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So let's see here. My white man, speaking of books, I'm definitely buying that new Gloomspite book. Oh my gosh, yes. That looks so stinking cool. Wish it had coincided with the release. That would have been a nice treat for all of us, but better late than never. I understand publication takes time. It's hard to synchronize models in a battle tome enough, never mind a novel with an author and edits and that kind of stuff. No way. It's too much. But I'm very excited about it. Honestly, I'm just more excited about books that are not from a human perspective or a Stormcast perspective. I want more books like that. Let's see here. Michael Hammond, good evening all. Just got off work, headed home to assemble Scarbrand. We'll drive safe, my friend, and continue to be awesome. If you don't know, that event that I went to and had an absolute blast at was run by Mr. Mike Hammond in the chat, and he is a cool person. His game store is one of the most awesome game stores I've been to in a long time, and it makes me weep. Just a really neat place. Can't speak highly enough about it or his event. Let's see here. Digital Keegan. We're in the middle of Paths of Glory. Every game I roll the realm rules for who was playing 8 games in. Every single roll was a 5, which is no running. The Iron Jaws player officially annexed me from the rolls last night. I got that when I think I was playing my Slaves to Darkness when I got the you can't run unless you can fly thing, and it is miserable. It is an actively unfun thing when everyone's just moving super slow. I think I was Slaves to Darkness. My opponent was Iron Jaws. I just remember it hurting us both very badly, and we were both very sad. Let's see here. I definitely agree. They haven't released everything about the battle tome yet, and I think part of for the Fyreslayers, I think part of that is the missing ingredient to make them swing at higher levels. And I don't know if it's going to be prayers or battalions or both, or all those things come together to really define an army, and I think we just haven't seen it yet. Let me just finish this guy. Let's see. Kenji says, grabbing Lena, Storm, Sire, and talking Black Talon. It'll be rad. Have you read Champion of the Gods? Not yet. Did you read that Overlords of the Iron Dragon book? No, I didn't. Digital Keegan, the Overlord of the Iron Dragon book. It was actually one of the books that inspired me to do the book club, where I was looking at it and I was like, I just want an excuse to read this and get other people involved in it. And so that's actually why I started there. But the reason I started with Black Talon was because Jack from Rolling Ones really likes audiobooks, and he had listened to it recently and gave it a really solid thumbs up. He liked it quite a bit, and so I was like, well, for my first one, let's go with a sure thing, right? It's new to me, but I feel like someone whose opinion I trust, give me a thumbs up. Any spoilers? So I thought that was a good start. But I am going to listen to Iron Dragon at some point. I'm very interested in that. There's a reason my KO are still on my shelf rather than being traded away like everything else, right? When I was clearing house to raise money for Nova, like to pay for the hotel and stuff like that, there's a reason those guys stayed off the chopping block, because I like them. Plus, my wife thinks they're cool, and any army that I can get to have around the house that she does not hate looking at, like she doesn't like the Glock candy, he's too gross. So anything I can have where I can actually decorate with cool looking models, I'll take. It actually made me seriously consider buying this. Some guy locally is getting rid of a big army of Stormcast, and it's the Sacrosanct Chamber stuff, and it's all unpainted. And I was like, oh, but I could paint that up. Oh man, and Jess would let me have it out in the room. Oh man, that'd be so, that kind of stuff. I was like, no, gotta stay focused. Gotta stay focused on the rats. It's all about the rats. At some point, though, I probably want a more elite army just to give myself a break with. But my goal right now, here's the thing. Let me tell you how much of a good time I had at that event that Michael ran. I had such a good time that it made me want to be a better player. Where I came in 5th, right, out of an 18-person event. And the people ahead of me are top-notch players. Like, if you guys watched the Rerolling Ones battle report today, so Jack came in first with his shootcast. Second was Jace, rocking the Daughters of Cain, who sweeps up. Third was Carrie, who was also there playing Nurgle, who is like scenario queen, right? Just sits on objectives and just grinds people out. And then 5th was a Stormcast player locally named Andrew, who brought just a super crunchy Stormcast army with a big old dragon and all this nasty looking stuff that just tore into armies. Like, really great players. All part of the same gaming group, Victoria's Secret, by the way. Catch them on Facebook, Catch the Fever. But super behind all those. But I was just like, I could have done better than this. Like, I actually think I could have beat one of them if I knew my list, right? It was my first time playing that army. And I just had this moment where I was like, I'm never going to be good at this. Like, I'm never going to be great at this game if I keep switching armies. Like, I need to stick with something and really learn it, not master it. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people who, I'm the Skaven guy. Like, there's a few of those. Dan Brewer's one of them. He's just been the Skaven guy. Always. And that's awesome for him. I just understand that I'm not going to be one of those because I like switching armies too much. But I can deepen my understanding of this game and get better at it and enjoy it in different ways if I just stick to something. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm exploring Skaven. Not every part of it, because some of it just doesn't interest me. Like Eshin does nothing for me. But other stuff I definitely do. Like the Pestilence stuff I think is killer. I think Scryer is okay. It's not... It looks cooler than I think it plays. But yeah. Let's see. Rolling One says hashtag first place. Let's see. Can Skaven worship anything other than the Great Horned Rat? Only worship the Great Horned Rat. It's one of the few statements like for gods in AOS where like there's just not a lot of wiggle room. Some of them are, like the Pestilens are the most religious, like in terms of how they express their beliefs, but all of them universally. It's all about the Great Horned Rat. There's no Sigma rats in Skaven City or whatever it was. They don't worship anything else. Although that'd be amazing. If somebody makes a miniature Stormcast model as a rat, that'd be amazing. And you would win. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just something I want to practice at. Just to get better with. And that's the thing. Like, I had a stream about it a while ago about getting list building with Skaven and stuff like that. And the thing is, like, I used to play competitively when I played War Machine and Hordes, and I really did enjoy it. And I think in that game's environment, having an interest in painting and the lore, it was just so different than. It's a very competitive game, and so those things weren't rewarded. They were looked at as like, oh, you like the hobby side, you go over here, right? And they kind of put you in another category of person. Whereas I feel like in AOS, like it's very much embraced. It's very much like, oh, you like painting and hobby and also want to kick teeth in a tournament, like that makes you a Renaissance man, not a freak. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've always gotten that sense from GW games, and so I don't know. So I'm kind of warming back up to the idea of entering competitive play. Certainly not my personal favorite way to play. But going to events and meeting people and doing well and just like, I went 2-1 at both events that I've played in so far. And you know what? I like 2-1. 2-1's good. It means I'm not at the most stressful table in the store fighting for number one. But I came in there, I did better than I didn't. I was like, yes, I like that. That's my happy place. 2-1. Let's see. Candy says, audiobooks always make me curious. I always wonder about pronunciation and how a narrator interprets the characters' voices. But I don't think I've found one that goes all the way. As far as like going into dramatics and that kind of stuff. From what I understand, Realmslayer with was it Brian Blessing? Is that what his name is? Did an extremely good Gotrek, Dwarden, sorry. Beyond that, I'm reading the one they have for Black Talon, and it's a woman. She does really, really well. Some of them, the thing is, she does really good with certain male voices. Other ones, they all sound the same. They don't sound bad. They just sound the same. So I don't know. It becomes just kind of noise after a while. Like there's a scene where like there's multiple men talking while they're getting their orders, and I was just like, I don't know who's talking. Yeah, just a bunch of burly dudes. What a small, I'm assuming, tiny British woman thinks burly men made of lightning sound like. Okay, one second. I'll hop back in the chat here. Let's see. Michael, no lie, a large part of the reason that event happened was the inspiration of your content and given me over the last year. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a great time. Paid for 3 fun games, got 3 fun games. Let's see. Ken says, okay, my GW store manager actually did make a plague monk with a little liberator hammer and a melted shield. I love it. Please take a picture. Timothy says, I wanted to learn more about the Stormcast. What books would you suggest? Soul Wars is a fantastic one by Josh Reynolds, for sure, if you haven't read that one. It talks about their reforging process, like what it means to be immortal. And it doesn't mean the super boring, we just never die and there's no consequences. There are severe consequences. That's my top pick for you, honestly. As far as Stormcast goes specifically, they're in most things. Actually, honestly, the Black Talon thing we're reading right now is actually a really good one. There's some cool questions about like the nature of immortality and sacrifice and those kinds of things. Yeah, I think those are my favorites. Does anyone else have any like favorite Stormcast books? The other ones are kind of like usually revolve around like a central figure or something like that. Like there's one where they're hunting Manfred the vampire, but that's not. I mean, I feel like that doesn't embody what Stormcast are all about. That kind of stuff. Let's see here. Primate, have you seen Oh, everything just kind of shifted here. 1 second. Have you seen Rob Hawkins' Legion of Nagash conversions? That's my next project. No, I have not. Never heard of it. Chauncey had a blast watching the whole thing. Sweet. I was kind of worried about you being bored. But all my games went over super well. I performed pretty great. I get to blame the Rumscape feature for my round 1 loss, which is not true. That's not true at all, but I get to. Basically, it was the Olgu mission where it shooting... you can't shoot or do spells outside 12. And so I had a primarily shooting Scryer army, and so I was playing Fyreslayers. By the time he got in range, I just didn't have enough time to do the damage to clear him off objectives and that kind of stuff, and he just ground me out. But no more. For 2 reasons. 1, I'm having more Plague Monks in my army. And the second reason is that Fyreslayers don't do that anymore. Okay. Which I'm okay with, as we talked about before. Let's see. Kane says, as a lady myself, I have a hard time imitating big buff men made of lightning. I do imagine Blacktown, all the Stormcasters being loud all the time. I agree, yeah. I feel like they're always presented as being like very, I don't know, overpowering with their presence and their voices and everything like that. Whenever there's a human that hears one talk, it's like the sound of many lightning bolts going off at once, and it's like, oh god. Jesse Zek, okay. Do I give my Demon Prince or Skullmaster my last artifact? Oh, Demon Prince. He wants to get up there and be in the middle of stuff. Yeah, Michael has it. Prince for power artifact, Skullmaster for support artifact. Toots. Phoenix Kelly, do you read books from Warhammer Fantasy? I did. Basically, it's when I jumped into fantasy battles about 4 or 5 months, I think, before the end times. Former fantasy battles is such a vast and massive, lore thing, monster, that you kind of just pick your army and start there and then expand, your knowledge from there. And so my army was High Elves, and so that's where I started. So I read like the, what is basically the Elven Civil War, right? The Sundering series. But by the time I finished all those things and all the little side books that came with that, this series, the fantasy battles, was pretty much wrapping up. And so, no, I didn't really read anything besides that. I think back in the day, I maybe read one of the Gotrek and Felix books, like just thinking it was a generic fantasy novel, but like not knowing it was affiliated with Warhammer. But I think that's it. I think that's all I've read for fantasy battles. Let me take a quick sip of something to drink here. Let's see. My white man suggests Sacrosanct and Other Stories as a good introductory point for Stormcast. Haven't read that one yet, but I do encourage it. Thing is, sadly, the book club is mostly for me, and I just invite people to join me because, frankly, I don't read enough fiction as the guy who runs a lore channel. I just, every time a new battle tome comes out, I dedicate. It takes me almost 2 weeks to get all that stuff compiled and ready and art done and the videos produced, and so generally speaking, I spend more time reading battle tomes than I do actual Black Library novels, and so that's just the nature of what I do, and I enjoy it. But so the book club was to help motivate me, like, no, like, let's actually read some of these books because the battle tomes are great. I like them, and I love the current design choices and iterations for them, but facts about an army are not nearly as fun as like stories where you get to see those facts in practice. And so I gotta discipline myself to get into reading those things. see. This says I'm leaning towards Sword of Judgment for a Demon Prince. That is a solid choice. Yeah, the Sword of Judgment is great on any unit that can dish out a lot of attacks. That's the thing. It needs the numbers to matter. So on a Demon Prince, I'm going to take one on my Verminlord Corruptor that I just finished building last night. So he'll be up there swinging with the Sword of Judgment. All in all, it's a pretty darn good unit, or artifact. Okay, almost done. Almost done with this coat. You know, every time I do a big block of 40 models all at once, I tell myself, I'm never going to do that again. And then I proceed to start doing it. Because I understand how much time it saves. But I have what I have. I have this block of 40, right? And then I'm getting the Plague Furnace, I think is what it's called. The big, you know, their big thing with the... Yeah, it's the Plague Furnace. That one's actually being done by Sean, friend of the channel. And yeah, it's actually my first thing I'm ever having commission painted, which is exciting. It makes me feel like an adult, and I do those kinds of things. So, but Sean's being super awesome and painting that for me. Partially because I want it to look amazing, and I've seen his work and it looks great. And the other part of it is I just didn't want to paint the darn thing because I would much rather spend my time focusing on making my Verminlord look extra tight. I'm not sure what color I'm going to go with for the banner, but we'll just leave that the way it is for now. Let's see here. Culture, just noticed this. How's it going, everybody? Hello. We are just chatting and chilling. I'm nearing the end of this step. A little painting process here. Yeah, I'm looking across at that finished monk we made with the different colored the Xandri dust over here, and he looks great. I'm just gonna touch up a few points and we'll just see how he looks. I'm just getting over to the wash, just the darkest places, to brighten it up just a smidge. Oh yeah, he looks sweet. I like it. Yeah, it looks much better than just the solid white. Just too clean. Anything with a Nurgle keyword in it shouldn't be that clean. I asked someone online, like, how do you make a dirty looking white? And they're like, oh, Nuln Oil or Agrax Earthshade, but those things are too strong. Tried diluting them a few times, just didn't take. Let's see here. O-Stone says he's going to buy the Plague Furnace just to paint. It's solidly worth it. It's a cool looking model. Just had a lot going on, and I was like more excited about other stuff. And I'm trying to get this all ready because I really want... so basically, for rerolling ones, kind of the minimum they do is like 1,000 points. It's not strictly true. It's not a rule that any of them have. It's just, you know, it's a small size game. And so I have my 1,000 point list of Pestilence. So I'm working hard to get in there and get that done. A smarter man would probably stop and just work on the almost 1,000 points of Scryer that I have. But here's the thing, man. Everyone and their mom, when they do Skaven battle reports lately, has been focusing on Scryer. I get it. They have some of the coolest models in the entire flipping range. It's hard to argue. but I am a special snowflake, and I want to be different. So when I make my Skaven debut, plus I mean Mark has quite a bit of Scryer stuff. So like when I bring Skaven to the Rerolling Ones channel, like it should be different than one of the guys who runs it, right? I think. Let's see. Oh my gosh, got him. All done did. Okay, let's see here. Oh, wait, man. So is this Pestilence comp replace the Scryer comp? I'm not. What do you mean by comp? Like competitive stuff? Is it replacing the Scryer? No, I still own them both. It's definitely. Here's the thing. Let me pour my guts out to y'all. So what happened? What happened was, I got into Skaven because hey, I want a more elite army. I like the Scryer stuff. But then I started playing it a bunch, and I'm not really a fan of the Warp Spark token allegiance ability they have. I just find it to be one more thing to keep track of. And my mind is already kind of mentally overdone with learning new rules and new models and all that stuff like that. And so at the same time as my growing discontent with Skaven, I was having a conversation with Jack from Rerolling Ones about getting better at competitive play, because it's an aspect of War Machine Horde that I enjoyed. I haven't tapped into it in a long time, so why don't I try doing that? Why don't I pick pick an army, get good at it, and just be better at tournament play. And so I'm looking at the Scryer stuff, being like, well, I don't want it to be that. I'm not really enjoying this. But then as I started digging through the Skaven book, as Jack and I think Brent can at least attest to, I have mentioned on multiple occasions that I do like the idea of Pestilence. I like the idea of the Horde armies. I like the melee threat. These things have damage potential way above their weight class. I think they're a good army before. I think they're an amazing army now. I think they got strictly better. Like if you're talking about any of the clans, these guys got the biggest stinking buffs. And so at that point I was like, well, I'm going to keep the Scryer because it's easy to travel with. But if I want to start doing competitive stuff, and that's an interest that I have, I'm definitely going to start leading towards the Pestilence things. And at the same time as that, because this all happened weirdly within a week, one of my patrons over on Patreon was getting out of Skaven. He's like, hey, if you trade me some of those, I had some KO stuff that was unassembled and I wasn't going to get around to it. He's like, if you trade me some of those, I'll trade you a whole bunch of Skaven stuff. And so it was 4 boxes of Plague Monks and of the Vermin Lord kit, which I can turn into a Corruptor. So it just seemed like the perfect entry point. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the thought process right now, is it was just this gradual, a couple events lined up to be like, I want to do the more competitive stuff. I want to have that ability within me and get better as a player. Here's an option. I truly believe that Pestilence is the strongest of the individual clans. Skaventide as a whole might be better. But I like these. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta be a mix of stuff that you like versus stuff that's just plain effective. For me personally, for my enjoyment of the hobby. And so yeah, that's why I'm painting a whole bunch of Pestilence. It won't be everywhere. It's not necessarily a travel army, because the Plague Furnace and the Verminlord Corruptor are both pretty big models. They can travel, but not always. It depends on what I want to do. I could bring 2,000 points of it to Nova if I wanted to. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's why I'm doing it. And at the what do you call it? The event that I just went to, I'm trying to think. A Battle at the Tower. I'm sorry, my brain is totally blanking. It's 10 o'clock here. At Battle at the Tower, I took Chaos Grand Alliance. I had a bunch of Scryer stuff, because that's what I had built up till that point, and then won this exact 40-man block of Plague Monks. And every single game, these were the MVP. With 0 support, 0 prayers to buff them up. I didn't have the Plague Furnace built, because I was there meeting Sean to give it to him to paint. No Corruptor, just 40 monks, and sometimes I threw Inspiring Presence on it. And they just ground everything to dust, and it was the coolest thing. Even like the super saves of Fyreslayers, that first game that I ultimately lost, these guys chewed through so much stuff because the sheer volume and buckets of dice they can drop just annihilated everything. So I don't know. I think they're really, really good. The board presence is great. If I took them in Scaventide, instead of hitting on 4-up, they hit on 3-up because they're a big blob of more than 30 dudes. Yeah, and they're just nasty. They're just nasty as all get out. So that's the long story. Sorry if that was too much for some people, but yeah, that's why I am doing Pestilence stuff. Mug My Man, you asked that question. So yeah, I think they're the best. I want to find ways to fit more of just the basic priests in. I feel like right now I'm only incentivized to ever bring guys on plague furnaces. That's kind of a bummer. But yeah, I don't know. What I'm going to do now, let's grab my Athonian Camo Shade. And we're just going to do a whole bunch of washing. Basically, I'm going to do all the robes and then do the skin afterwards, because the robes are really easy to touch up if there's a problem. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, something's going on in the chat. We got people chatting about clearing out some old stuff, huh? I love it. Oathstone says Pestilence is fun and Total Warhammer Illustrious fun to invade. I have not played them yet. Sorry, I feel like I wanted to rant there. I'm off my voice. I have not played them yet in Total War, which I should. I think I started one game and then I was doing a team game with Jack and then we had to restart for some reason. But yeah. I'm interested. I did play at least one game because I did play with Plague Monks and I was like, oh, these guys wreck, and I loved it. Just like in Vermintide, they are also amazing in Vermintide. They're trying to kill you, but they're amazing at it. Sweet. Okay. It looks like you guys are making a trade deal. Cool. Do whatever you want. 2+ stuff is not liable. Mr. Mephisto says, oh snap, it's Doug. Hello. So yeah, that was all that exposition was the journey that brought me to playing Clan Pestilence for right now. The only Skaven clans that don't really interest me, actually the only ones that do interest me, I'll be honest, as far as like playing mono clan, is going to be Scryer and Pestilence. Actually, Molder is pretty cool too. Which, fun fact about the Plague Monk kit, it comes with a bunch of giant rats for some reason. I think they're just supposed to be like basing decorations, but they're certainly large enough to put on a 25mm and be called a giant rat. And so I'm slowly in the background collecting a Molder army so I can play that too. That one will require a bit more, but like more purchases to make work. But yeah. Kevin Potter, hi Doug, long time no here. Glad you're on the air so we can catch you in England. Sweet. You picked up a Doom Wheel. Sweet. Doom Wheels are legit. I actually have... do I have one or two? I think I have just one. I just have not put it together because it looks so intimidating to build. But at some point I will do that. Because of all the Scryer stuff, that one looks like the most fun. Like the cannon, the Warp Lightning cannon, it's cool, but it's got a lot of danger to it as far as overcharging. It hasn't bit me too hard yet, but... it exists. But the Doom Wheel just seems like such an aggressive piece. Oh, I just like it. I just like it a lot. I would never overcharge the engines though, because then your opponent gets to drive it. Let's see here. All right. Doom will require sub-assemblies to paint. Oh, I imagine so. I'm the worst when it comes to sub-assemblies. I just do it. I just build the darn thing and then I figure it out later. I just cuss a lot when I paint. I just hate it. Because to me, like, you know, I don't know. I try to come up with defenses as far as like, you know, I'm one of those people who like likes to see the whole model before I start deciding where to add color. That's a crock of crap. You know, I could probably figure it out on my own. I just like building models, and then I like being, this is done, and I'm going to prime it, and I'm going to paint it. Like, for some reason, sub-assemblies, I feel like I'll work all day but not have a completed model. I'm like, ugh. I need instant gratification. Here. You guys are coming along. This is actually, relatively speaking, this is actually much faster than the Clan Rats ever did. Oh, I get stern looks from people online. Let's see. Mr. Mephisto is all places at once. I dig it. Just GW just needs to release an Elves battle tome. Yeah, dude. I want Wood Elves. I want Wood Elves because my good friend Shu on Rerolling 1 wants Wood Elves. I once asked him, so basically the Beast of Chaos book came out, and he's pretty disappointed at it. Because the Bulgor stuff, like the Warherd, that's what they call the Minotaurs and all that stuff like that, it took a huge bump and downward in power level, and I will not argue that. It got nerfed to oblivion. And he owns currently a beautiful Warherd army. And so I asked him, I was like, so, you know, this you know, you're not super excited for. What are you excited for? And my assumption was, you know, he was still excited about Warherd, but what he said was like, he likes Wood Elves. That's his jam. That's what he wants. And I want it because he wants it. Narratively, I think there's better choices. I think that humans are the most important with free peoples, but the problem with free peoples is that when they come out, I'm going to want to buy them. And that's a problem for the guy who says he wants to stay focused and get good at an army. Is that free people are... I love them. I love the idea of them. I want to be able to play as a good guy that I can relate to. I'm not a sky pirate midget, and I'm not a lightning demigod. I'm just a dude who might have a gun. And so I think that'd be cool. Let's see here. Sean says he'd always send to me. Yeah. You want to paint a doom mill? Oh, you gotta build it. It's cool. I'm sure it's not that bad of a kit. Honestly, like honestly, what I really feel like, the kits are not bad. The instructions are, right? It's like, it's kind of like you ever hear that little proverb of like, there's no bad children, only bad parents. That is exactly what it's freaking like when it comes to instructions, when nothing's numbered on the old stuff, and like there's bad images where it's like, put this piece on the back of the model, but they don't show you the back of the model, they just show you the front of the model with an arrow going towards the back of it from behind. You're like, what the heck? I had what did I have a rough time building? I can't remember. I don't think it was the Plague Furnace. That one was okay. I was actually surprised at that. It was something else, where I was just incredibly confused at what I was looking at. I was like, this is the dumbest thing. This thing is ancient. Thomas, do you ever think there will be a Sigmar model? I doubt it. Just because I'm not sure how many gods they're going to bring to the tabletop. But also, like, him personally, like, his kind of mission and focus, at least at this point in the story, I'm not going to say never. Like, for the longest time, we never thought we'd see Primarchs on the table in 40k, so just, keep that in mind. His role in the war right now is to be a supportive thing in Azir, making lightning people, like, dedicating his power to that, and then channeling it by shooting his warriors across the realms and all that stuff. A very supportive role rather than an active, man about the battlefield type thing. Plus, the fruits of him being on the battlefield didn't pan out last time. Things didn't end so well. He kind of got his tail kicked and ran back and locked the door and let nobody else in for like a millennia. So I think he's okay with not being on the battlefield for a bit, for a hot minute. Let's see here. Valerian would... You know what's awesome? There's a Super Mario Brothers army, the Fyreslayers. Yes, the Mod Pizza wood fire oven is pretty sweet of the Forge. I dig it. They need to bring out a Stormcast Dreadnought. I would not be surprised if that was their next thing. I don't think it's going to be for a while. I think they're kind of chilling on Chambers for a bit. But I wouldn't be surprised at some point if there was a mega... Like, the only, like mega melee thing they have, right? Like, in terms of... It's not a unit, it's a lone thing that goes and picks a fight with people, is Celestin Prime, I think. Like, they have units that do stuff like that, like the evocators and that kind of stuff. But as far as, like, the story being built around some super BA powerhouse that just goes out there and wrecks face, I think it's just the Celestin Prime. Let's see, Kinsey. I think Celestin Prime is the closest thing we'll have to a Sigmar model. Yeah, that's actually probably he's kind of the representative of him on the battlefield for sure. Oathstoned. Mogwai Man, what green did you use? They were all primed with. I think it's Death Guard green. Whatever the can when they have rattle can at GW. I think it's the one they tell you to use for Death Guard 40k. I believe it's Death Guard green. I don't think it's Death Old Forest. Let's see. Do you think we will get Sacrosanct start collecting boxes? Well, based on the fact that the original 2-player starter box became 2 halves of a starter set, I wouldn't be surprised if the Stormcast half of Soul Wars, one day, many moons from now, when they've made their money back on the molds and stuff like that, becomes a starter box. That would not surprise me. As for other stuff being included besides those, all those kits are expensive as all get out. I don't know. Yes, Death Guard green. Thank you. Yeah, my little guy I did, it is Death Guard green with, I think it's a Legion green. Oh, Kraken green, that's what it is. So it's a little more pale. And I like it. The pale mixes with the, or plays off the Sandry Dust, the tanner colors, really, really well. We'll see. This whole thing should crank out pretty darn quick. I could probably have all these done this weekend. Easy peasy. Where it gets annoying is the skin, because then you have to do the base coat, wash, and then highlight. But it's just the tiniest bit of these models, right? It's just the hands and the snout, basically. but it's just a lot of steps for such a silly little thing. I think when I get to the end of these, I might call it a night. Let's see here what we got until then. Nicholas, I want to update to my Scourge privateers with flying ships similar to the Carriage and Overlords. Yeah, dude. That'd be legit. Man, that's good. That's good. I'm trying to think of other stuff besides just like, stealing ships from the Carriage and Overlords. I would like, I don't know, mobile, like, animal captivity pens or something like that. Like, imagine like a crab thing that has like a cage built into it, and you can like unleash the beast every once in a while. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of other stuff that would be really cool. When I think of Scourge privateers, yeah, it's mostly aquatic or flight. I guess you're right. Yeah, an update to. I really want to see Darkling's Coven get an update. I think that's like one of those sleeper armies. The ones like you just don't think about being good, and then all of a sudden it springs up on you, and you're like, oh, holy crap, these are really good. If you're not prepared for them, it's a horde army that just keeps rewarding you for being a horde long after your numbers have evaporated. And I just think that's the coolest thing. What else is really good? The Free People, I think, still, in my opinion, takes the cake for being the best allegiance ability within the General's Handbook. As far as like the feel of the army with their little free companies of shooting and that kind of stuff. Oh, it's magic. I played against it last week when I was doing one guy had played before, but the other guy was new completely. And so it was my Skaven versus two Free People armies, and they shot us to bits. Oh, wrong side. Let's see. Kevin Potter just played my Khorne New Judgments. The axe really does the job. Carnage all the way. I dig it. Hey Doug, how do you create your own character? How do you create your own character lore for AOS? Well, Hugh, I did a video series about making your characters and like that. It's on one of the playlists. I think it's called like just a narrative gaming playlist. You should go check that out. But basically, it starts with reading through the battle tome, thinking about stories and stuff like that I would want to see brought out. So, for example, in the Fyreslayers book, it's a hereditary leadership. So, like a king has sons and princes and that kind of stuff, and those sons can leave and go start their own lodge and that kind of stuff. And so, like, if you wanted to create a character based on the drama there, you would then say, okay, well, I have to have a rune father to lead, and then his sons, right? That sets the tone for what units you're using. Beyond that, it's just choosing, every, I guess, character in a book. I'm trying to think. I might choose my words carefully here. Every character in a book has hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and also fears. What are your characters? Just kind of map those things out, right? So you map out the leaders you want in your army, because they definitely define the character. And then go one by one and kind of decide what you want what do each of them want, right? Hopes, dreams. What is their critical weakness? Like, what keeps them from achieving that thing? And are they strong enough to overcome it? And then when you kind of put those things together, that's where you kind of start having characters and motivations and intrigue and that kind of stuff. So, for example, let's make one right now. Let's say a free guild captain, right? He really hates fighting in the war. He hates traveling a lot. He hates being shipped out for stupid fights. He wants a nice cushy job back in his ear, pushing papers and being safe and doing whatever he wants. So that's his desire. What keeps him from that? Maybe it's a superior who demands much of him and that kind of stuff. And is he good enough to achieve that goal? Maybe he needs to keep fighting to earn renown and get the promotion he wants. Maybe he has to be super sneaky and be a total tool and sell out his boss to get the promotion. You know, all those kinds of things. That's how you start making drama. You have a goal, you have a weakness, and then you ask the question, can he actually achieve it based on those two things? Let me ask you, Hugh, what army are you playing? We can kind of brainstorm some stuff together here on the chat. I'll give you just a second to reply since there's kind of almost a minute delay here. I once had an English teacher that said that life is just a series of things that we want and crap keeping us from it. That's exactly what he was talking about. Okay, you guys are coming along. The problem with colored primer is that when you prime everything the same color, like the bases, even you can have the best painted model, but they still won't pop off the base, and it makes it hard. Oh, cold shoulder. See you later, friend. Oh yeah, Kenzie brings up a good point. So if you look in the description below, or if it's not in the description below this video, it should be in any of the more recent ones I've done. There's a link to a Discord channel, and it's like a texting group. You can just hop in there and just ask questions and chat. But we do have a narrative section where we can ask those kinds of questions. Thank you for bringing that up, Kenzie. I forget to promote that at every possible turn. But yeah. So what do I have left? So I have this batch of 40 monks. Then I jump into, I'm going to do the Corruptor next. Basically, I'm painting everything because on May 11th, there is a tournament here. It's a doubles event, so me and Jack are going to practice together. Be on the same team. And basically, what I want, by the time we go to Nova, have you guys ever seen Pacific Rim, where like you get the two pilots in the machine and they're like each one half of a hemisphere of a brain kind of thing? Like that's what me and Jack are going to be. That's the goal. And so what that really means is I need to step up my game and get better at playing, because he's really good. Primate says, Flame of the Eternal Legion, built around the base of a giant brazier burning flesh bodies. Sweet. Yeah, a little lore for your guys there. I like it. He says, well, I was planning on like a fan-made story, lore on any creature in fiction of AOS. That's all. Okay. Well, Joel, join us in the Discord. I'd love to chat with you more about that, for sure. Why is that a Thonian camo shade? Yes, it is. Yep, that and Colia Green shade are my favorite of all of the washes. They just sink in the cracks well. They don't distort color too much. They add a little bit, but they add enough color to add depth, but they're not overpowering. You know, some like Fyreslayers Crimson, it just dramatically turns things super pink or purple, whatever it is. So, which is good for some very specific effects, but on the whole, I wish it kind of tuned down a little bit. I usually dilute that quite a bit when I'm using it for most things. But yeah. Let's see. Opa. We got 3 guys left. cranking through this. This army's going to be done in no time. I am pumped for it. I'm really excited because I think the prayer thing for Pestilence is so much more straightforward than the Warp Spark tokens. I think that'll be super fun. Plus, I'm looking forward to sharing some battle reports with y'all. Be a good time. Get 1,000 points of these guys done. I got 1,000 points of KO. Maybe crank out another battle report on my channel, my narrative stuff. Got some ideas. But yeah, that's on a little bit of a hiatus just because I needed to clean up my inventory and shut down the store and get that stuff out of the way because there was no physical room to record until that was gone. Alright, he's dead. Alright, friends. So tonight we have 40 Plague Monk. Well, we decided on a scheme. That was the big thing in the beginning. And this guy's going to look great. So we decided on a scheme. And then we base coated 39 of them. Got them washed. Then we're going to start building up skin and little stuff tomorrow. So join me tomorrow in the evening. I don't have a set time when we're going to start. So it depends on when my wife's friends comes over. I think around maybe like 6 or 7. I will be doing a mega stream. Long one, probably a couple hours. And then hopefully have these guys done. So I will talk to you all then. And don't forget, hop on the Discord. If it's not in the show notes down below on the live stream thing on YouTube, you can head over to any of the videos that just came up on YouTube. My lore ones, my most recent one that came out Wednesday. And there's definitely a link in there because that one auto-populates for me. So anyway, I will see you all there. We can talk about lore, whatever. And I'll catch you next time. Have a good night.